We're joined by Rapids head coach Chris Armas. We'll start off with his general thoughts on the match ahead, then open up to questions.
Yeah, we want to take a little momentum from this last game against Cruz Azul, where our guys put out a huge effort, showed the type of team they are and that we are, and now pour that momentum and energy and intensity and all that we are into this last 9-game stretch. It's a mini 9-game season for us, 4 home, I believe, 5 away. Uh, but we believe we can win home and away. So it's we're right there in a playoff spot, and it's really about how good can we be at being us in this last bit here, sticking together as a team, really just uh, throwing everything out this playoff push.
You mentioned being us, but at the beginning of this tournament, you talked about how the intensity and physicality of some of these Liga MX teams can kind of alter the way that you play, alters the way that you face each other on the pitch. Do you think after these 3 games against these teams, that's kind of shifted a little bit of the team mentality, what you're seeing on the pitch now, heading into MLS back again?
Well, I just see like the team, like I said in one of the last press conferences, the team's been through a lot this year. It's and they're human beings, but they've had to develop thicker skin and calloused minds and bodies, and from untimely injuries, some tough calls in games that most teams face it, but we've had to face that. Recently with transfer, from the club, this is more than anything the way the teams had to come together. And what you rely on is each other and a style of play and an intensity. So when you look at Cruz Azul, even the guys get a goal from a high press and forcing lots of mistakes. So we just can take the reps against good teams that, yes, they can challenge you with savviness. They can challenge you, the Mexican teams can challenge you with, diagonal balls, direct play, interior pockets. They can hurt you and challenge you in so many different ways. That's what we'll take from it, that we can go toe-to-toe with some really good ones. We can defend, and we can attack and create chances. So if nothing else, rather, confidence and belief that we can beat anybody.
And how do you believe that's going to translate against this Minnesota United team?
Well, you hope that all of our experiences in so many of these guys over 18 months, if you talk about this year's, Leagues Cup, last year's Leagues Cup, you talk about the playoffs last year, pressure moments in this little mini 9-game season. First game at Minnesota, tough environment, really good team, hard to break down. Counter threats, speed, power, intelligence in the middle of the field with Trapp and Ludd. Like, it's again a team that can hurt you in many different ways. So, yeah, I think we plan to take all of that into Minnesota, which we're really excited for. They're a good team. They'll challenge us like they do many teams, and we're going to be up for it.
And recently we've talked a lot about younger new additions coming in, the Noah Cobbs, the Sini Watudas. What are you seeing from more veteran players to really get them on board with a high energy, big push for the rest of the season in the playoffs?
Well, listen, there's the voices of the older crew. They're not old, they're older than the young. That's Maxu, that's Keegan Rosenberry and Zach, this crop of guys. Soon enough we'll have Rob Holding in that circle. But yeah, then you see these younger guys that are growing to be big leaders around here. The Cole Bassett's, even Reggie Cannon, I would say, is a guy that is saying more than he ever has around here. So you have a bunch of guys that are pushing to be leaders. Hoffa, who leads by example. And this is what we have to rely on. The guys that are comfortable with being the leaders, the guys that are coming through and learning their voice and who they are. It'll take everyone leading by example, different and guys leading in their own ways. But this is going to be big in this stretch, especially on the road.
And Thursday's match saw a lot of healthy set of depth on this team, a big transition at half and then later with Hoffa coming out. What are you seeing from some of these players, just their physicality, maybe their bodies after a pretty dense stretch of games?
Well, a lot of the guys that are used to this type of schedule, we even had to rest a little bit. But Maxu, Ali and Cole split the game. Max and Ian Murphy split the game. Rafa wanted 90 minutes again, of course, but he mostly split the game with Yappy. That that we just want to go fresh into this last stretch and give us a real chance to make some noise here into the playoffs. But what you can see is some of the guys can handle that workload really well, and some of the bodies, it takes a toll. Even for Jackson Travis, it's took a toll on his body. You can see that, Sidney Watuda and some of these young guys, Alex Harris, it's a big ask on the day. Wayne Frederick, really emptied the tank, and those bodies aren't quite used to that. They can play 90 minutes with our second team, but now at the demands of the highest level, it's just going to take some time. It's just really about conditioning and repetition. But we are generally a healthy team, generally, but and we're a very fit team because we're young and pretty robust. So, but it's clear that it's nice to see some of the guys like a Sidney Watuda, like Noah Cobb, like a Alex Harris show that they can be relied upon. This is going to be important right now as we're going into this final stretch.
In this Minnesota game, it's very rare that you get your home and away so late in a season, having not seen Minnesota yet. Does that change anything for you, the way you approach it, knowing that they've had just as long as a season as you have?
No, I mean, we'll get them in our building in not too long. We don't have to wait for that. But nothing changes that we're shifting our focus from Leagues Cup to MLS, our mini season as we're calling it, and that we know the type of opposition that Minnesota is. It challenges us differently than many MLS teams, from the way they structure their builds, the way they defend, the way they can defend in a low block, the way they can press high, set pieces. They're extremely dangerous. So we'll have to be at our best once again, but we are ready for it. But no, this is one game at a time, and we'll catch them on the rebound back at our house, and we'll learn from this game, this first one.